Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the April 1st, 2026 business meeting of the Daytona Beach Community Redevelopment Agency. We are happy to have you with us this evening. Madam Clerk, may we please have a roll call?
Commissioner Strickland?
Here.
Commissioner May?
Here.
Commissioner Cantu?
Here.
Commissioner Henry?
Present.
Commissioner Reed?
Here.
Commissioner Paris?
Here.
Chair Derek L. Henry.
I move that we excuse Commissioner or Mayor Henry from the CRA meeting.
Second.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Reed and a second from Commissioner Henry.
We have a motion from Commissioner Reed and a second from Commissioner May. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, we will now have, motion passes 6-0. We will now have the invocation led by Commissioner Reed and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner Strickland.
Bless the Lord, O my soul. Not the pledge first, the prayer first. You can put your hands down. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that's within me. Bless his holy name. During this holy week, we stop, Lord God, and once again, we say thank you. Thank you for all that you've done, all that you're doing, and all that you shall do for each and every household that's represented tonight, and more specifically, for a city called Daytona Beach. We thank you for the opportunity to serve, and we thank you for those who continue to serve, be it fire, be it police, be it any of our branches of the military, be it the nurses and the doctors in the hospital, whatever capacity someone is in that serves, we thank you because it takes each and every one of us to make this world a better place. So tonight, as we deliberate over the decisions of this city, we ask that you would lead us, that you would guide us, and you would help us to make decisions that are best for all. We know we can't please everybody, Lord, but if we can make the best decision that pleases you, that's all that matters. I give you all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. In the mighty and the matchless name of Jesus, I pray. Let us all say, Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to break ranks for really quick. City manager is going to make a motion.
Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, since we do have some young people who are have a presentation tonight, we wanted to go ahead and move the presentations for the proclamation for the Water Conservation Month and also the presentation and Honor Water Conservation Month poster contest winners to the CRA meeting to allow for the young people to not have to sit here for about an hour and a half during the CRA meeting. So if we could get a motion to have the items for presentations for 6A and 6B from the City Commission meeting to be added to the CRA meeting, that would be appreciative.
I move that the presentations from 6A and 6B, you said?
Yes.
Moved to CRA. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Paris and a second by Commissioner Cantu. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes
So you're going to go down there and take that proclamation.
6-0.
Who's going to receive the proclamation? It's the Utilities Department. You can come up for the proclamation and also Mr. James Lloyd. And then after Mr. Lloyd, Vice Mayor Henry will stand as you all do the presentations for the poster contest. So, and this is her first time seeing the proclamation. They just handed it to her because she normally is not serving in that capacity.
Water is a basic and essential need for every living creature. And whereas the state of Florida, the water management districts, and the city of Daytona Beach are working together to increase awareness about the importance of water conservation, and whereas the city of Daytona Beach and the state of Florida has designated April typically a dry month when water demands are the most acute, Florida's Water Conservation Month. to educate citizens about how they can help save Florida's precious water resources. And whereas the City of Daytona Beach has always encouraged and supported water conservation through the various educational programs and special events, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizens can make a difference when it comes to conserving water, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can help by saving water and thus promote a healthy economy and community. And now, therefore, I, Derek L. Henry, Mayor of the City of Daytona Beach, Florida, and on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2026 as Water Conservation Month in the City of Daytona Beach, and call upon each citizen and business to help protect our precious resources by practicing water-saving measures and becoming more aware of the need to save water. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Daytona Beach, Florida, to be affixed this 4th day of February 2026. Okay, this first day of April 2026. Derek L. Henry, Mayor. Thank you. City staff, come on up.
Turn around. Yes. Hold up the proclamation. One, two, three. One, two, three. Come on, you go ahead.
Okay.
You still stay.
I wasn't sure of the formality if I had to go back over there. Just move the mic up. Okay, so I'm good to present. Okay. Was not expecting so many people here tonight. But good evening, everybody, commissioners, vice mayor, city manager, and ladies and gentlemen. My name is James Lloyd. I am the Sustainability and Resiliency Officer for the City of Daytona Beach. And in honor of Water Proclamation Month, this is one of the first times we are doing this. I wish I can face this way. I am here to present the winners of the 2026 inaugural Drop Savers Poster Contest. For those of you unaware, Drop Savers is a statewide contest that invites students to draw a poster or slogan related to water conservation. And the contest is meant to get kids to think about water conservation and about protecting water resources here in Florida and locally. And the contest also supports the city's consumptive use permit, which of course brings drinking water to the citizens and customers of Daytona Beach. So like I said, this is the inaugural contest, so we're kicking this off. Just wanted to say that the students were tasked to showcase their art skills and with original artwork using just a piece of paper, drawing utensils, and just good old imagination. So no AI was allowed. As part of the inaugural year, the contest was just offered to elementary schools, just kind of as like a pilot offering, just to get it kickstarted. And given the positive reception that we had this year, we are looking to offer it to middle school and high school students next year. So hopefully we'll kind of expand the contest from here. But for this year, the divisions were broken out. There's the first division, which is kindergarten through first grade. The second, which is second through third grade. And then the third division was fourth through fifth grade. We solicited posters, we received submissions, and judging was held across multiple departments. And winners were selected, and the winners, I'm happy to announce the winners here today. So that's what we'll be doing. So before I announce the winners, I just wanted to say a few things, in case I don't get to close it out afterwards. I believe one of the students is here tonight, and I think we're waiting on Nakaya as well. Yeah, so hopefully she'll make it. But the parents are here, and some of the teachers are here. So I just wanted to extend a heartfelt thank you to all y'all. Without y'all, we wouldn't be able to kick off this contest. So I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And hopefully their participation will allow this contest to grow year over year. As you can see on the slide there are some of the posters from this year. And I'm going to be completely honest, they exceeded expectations. I think it's safe to say there's a lot of artistic talent across the elementary schools. And by the way, the two winners that won are representing Westside Elementary. So, yeah. Don't forget, the posters are displayed on the lobby outside, so as you leave, feel free to admire the artwork out there. I just have two things, and then I have the certificates to present, and then I also have prize bags, which I'm sure is the fun part. One is the winners here tonight will compete on the statewide level. The statewide competition is sponsored by the American Waterworks Association, so they will be competing with students across the state. Just looking at the artwork, I think hopefully there's a good chance there that they win. But good luck to them on the statewide level. And just lastly, I wanted to say to look out for the contest again next year. We are looking to expand it. Unfortunately, we did not receive submissions for second or third grade. However, we do plan to expand the contest next year and get the word out a little bit earlier. All right, so I'll stop there, and without any further ado, I just want to announce the winners of the contest. Like I said, the winners will receive a certificate signed by the mayor and the city manager, and then they'll also receive a prize bag just full of Daytona Beach swag and goodies to have fun with. So I think the way this is going to work is we have the photographer here. So I have a slide for each of the winners. I'll announce the winners. If you want to come up, we can take a picture. The family and teachers are welcome to come up. We can try to take a picture here, or maybe we can go out on the lobby as well. So if we can go back to the slides here. Okay, so without any further ado, I will announce the winner. For kindergarten through first grade, the winner was Carla Gonzalez Fernandez. Let me get a certificate here. Congratulations, Carla.
Come to the side over here.
You want to take that over here? Congratulations.
Come on, I'll get down there. Yeah.
The poster was on the slide.
There it is.
They come on this side. Are there family and teachers going to be up there? Principals? Yeah, family? So Xavier, you can come this way. I'll take it back there. Tell them to turn around, face them.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Sorry.
Okay.
One, two, three.
All right, congratulations, Carla. And then the next winner, I know she was on her way, Nakaya. I'm not sure she's here. Is she here? Oh, okay. I did get confirmation that she was going to be here, but unfortunately doesn't look like it. But I'll go ahead and announce and show her poster. So the winner for 4th through 5th grade division was Nakaya Welch. And congratulations to her. Right here. I'll make sure she gets her certificate and prize bag. And just want to close out and say, West Side represent. And I just want to say thank you again to everybody that participated, and look out again for the contest next year. So we'll look to grow. Thank you.
Thank you all. So do you want them to come with you to get their swag bags or?
Yes.
Yeah, so-
we have it in the bag.
So thank you all. Oh, they're waiting for you all. They're-
What about in the lobby? They have your
Yeah, yeah.
winning bags for you.
yeah. Is that your purse underneath? It's a purse. Oh, that's all right. Thank you.
Congratulations to the young people of Westside Elementary that resides in Zone 5 and is also the elementary school that I attended as a child. Always doing great things over there. Okay.
So we're going to continue on to item number 4, which is approval of the minutes of the January 21st, 2026 meeting of the Community Redevelopment Agency.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner May, and we have a second by, was that Commissioner Cantu? By Commissioner Cantu. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay. No opposition, so motion passes 6-0. We will now move on to item number 5, agenda approval. If there are any changes, the city manager will read them at this time.
There are no changes to the CRA agenda.
I move to accept the CRA agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Reed and a second by Commissioner May. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. There's no opposition. Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, we're going to move on to item number 6, which is our administrative items. Item 6A is the Main Streetscape Design Presentation from Catalyst Design Group.
And before Mr. Thomas presents, I want to make sure that the commissioners are aware there are no votes that are tonight. They've had community meetings. This is just to make a presentation to you all in preparations for your CRA strategic planning session to discuss. So there's no votes that are required for this evening. So I'll allow for Mr. Thomas to introduce the team or Mr. Waller. So.
Before he starts, I would like to say a few things. We have probably about 20 businesses in the audience from over there, and they all would like to speak, but that's not happening because we usually do not allow on the CRA agenda. It's usually at the end of the agenda, but they have spoke and wanted to see if maybe 4 of them could get up and speak instead of at the end of the commission agenda. If I could make a motion, if I could get a second to allow them.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Cantu and a second by Commissioner May. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0.
And I'm sorry, was that to allow a certain number to speak? or-
Yes, 4 or 5, something like 4? 4. So the 20 businesses out there, or I think it's about 20, you guys got to see who the spokesmen are going to be for the Main Street area.
Honorable Vice Mayor, City Commission, City Manager, I'm Ken Thomas, Redevelopment Director, City of Daytona Beach. This project tonight has been a collaboration between the CRA and the Public Works Department to address issues and concerns of the Main Street area. The work authorization was approved by this commission back in December of 2024. The Main Street Redevelopment Plan states that under the capital projects section, public improvements are necessary to carry out provisions of the redevelopment plan. The E-Zone plan also recommends an engaging, walkable, comfortable, and safe Main Street with a strong link to the beach. The Beachside Redevelopment Advisory Board reviewed the design options and provided a lot of input. That happened April 2025. Thereafter, we had a public meeting at the Peabody where we had over 80 participants who provided input with the conceptual plan. So tonight, as the city manager indicated, there's been a combination of meetings held, and the Catalyst Design Group has prepared a presentation for your review and input. And without further ado, I'd like to bring forth the Catalyst Group.
Hello, my name is Tim Salka. I'm with Catalyst Design Group, and this is my associate Bruce Hall, also with Catalyst Design Group. We were tasked with taking a look at Main Street and coming up with ideas and trying to help move this project forward. So just to kind of give you a roadmap for this evening, we'll kind of give a overall view of the project and what our intent was and what we were tasked with doing. We haven't done anything redesigning since the public meeting, so what you're seeing tonight will be essentially those documents with a lot of the comments that we heard that evening, so that you can make informed decisions about how we need to proceed next. I'll also mention under our work order, this was the first task of our phase. There's also a second task where we look at things a little more in depth and implement some of your direction and ideas from there. So we'll kind of recap the public meeting. We'll cover what we heard, and then we'll kind of open it up to questions that you might have. So we were tasked with looking at Main Street and the connectors that connect into it, and looking at how maybe we can take Main Street forward, how it might function in the future, how it should function now, but take it beyond what it is now and make it something special for the city. We looked at distinct zones. So we looked at Main Street itself, we looked at South Ocean Ave along the beach, and then the connectors up to the Peabody and the Ocean Center itself. What we were really tasked with is looking at several design goals. So events and everyday, how does it function during special events, whether that's Bike Week, whether that's an art festival or a farmer's market, or whatever events might want to be there that are needs now and possibly needs in the future. But it also needs to function every day. So it needs to be a good, welcoming, safe environment. How do we activate Main Street? How do we activate create synergy between those elements, the Ocean Center, the Peabody, the beach. So we also looked at those connections. You know, how do we get people to move between those areas? How do we welcome people down from the Ocean Center to come support the businesses that are there? Safety was also a big concern of our study. Not only lighting, but for pedestrians, for vehicles, for motorbikes even. How do they move through the space? Creating level, safe environments, you know, maybe reducing some of the curbs that are there and providing light so that there is a feeling of safety. And then functionality. It needs to function for the businesses that are there and the businesses that may be there in the future. So parking considerations, deliveries, letting people potentially dine on the streets or the sidewalks. So kind of a recap of the public meeting. Again, the public meeting was held on November 18th. We had over 80 participants who signed in. The course for the evening was, we kind of covered our design process, which we'll touch on in a few minutes. We went through some precedent streetscapes, which we kind of showed and gave good examples of what makes successful streetscapes. And then we showed preliminary streetscape designs that are keyed into key locations along Main Street, the connector streets and South Ocean Ave. And then after that, we had a breakout session where we actually went out to the different areas. We heard comments, and we allowed people to place red dots on things that they liked or didn't like, and green dots on things that they did like. So our design process, we call it the 5 Ds of design. It's desire, it's establishing that goal, it's discovery, it's the research and analysis of the problem itself, creating designs, and then discussion. But you'll notice it's not a linear path. It goes back and forth. Once we design, we discuss, we might go back to design, we may go back even to discovery. So it's a process that, you know, we're getting feedback throughout the whole process here. Recapping some of the things that we showed at the public meeting, streetscape anatomy. You know, what makes a successful streetscape? Typically, there's a retail zone where businesses could potentially have seating. They might have signage out there. They might even have racks of clothing or other things that they might be selling. There's always a walking zone where there's safe pedestrian means for people to walk. And then there's the furnishing zone as well, which is, it could be your street planters, your street lights, could even be benches, litter receptacles, and such things. So some comparable streetscapes, just to kind of give an idea of what we were looking at. Winter Park, Florida, and on Park Ave, you know, it's an active, very successful streetscape. There's outdoor dining, there's brick streets. Brick streets are nice from the standpoint of slowing traffic. They also create noise, so pedestrians hear cars that are coming. There's also other elements of this, the street trees that kind of provide safety for people who are on the sidewalk, or a feeling of safety. You'll notice the very clean pedestrian walkway here. People can stroll and look and stroll. It's level, it's all consistent, so there's no trip hazards. People aren't tripping over curbs or changes in materials or things like that. Another very successful streetscape is Clematis Street in West Palm Beach. Here you'll notice that the trees and large planters create kind of a buffer along the street. They provide like protection from vehicles that could veer off into the sidewalk. It also helps slow down people. There's also a flush curb condition where people can go onto the sidewalk without tripping. Another photo, nice dining areas. Sanford is also another great streetscape. Creating an atmosphere, providing places for businesses to have special events. And then, you know, creating flexible areas for special events. The flush curbs here allow for the tents to be brought in, allows for people to move without tripping over curbs and things like that. So what we heard. The next series of slides will kind of be a recap of what we presented at the public meeting, along with a lot of the comments that we heard. But as we kind of go through those, we wanted to let you kind of see some of the comments so you can keep those in mind as we work through them. A major comment that we heard was a lot about parking, whether there should be street parking, if there's enough surface parking, whether there needs to be a parking ramp, and how that affects Main Street and also the beach. There's also concerns about the use of brick on the streets themselves, from a perspective of the motorcyclists to use the streets. We did hear feedback that the motorcyclists are not in favor of bricks. Maintenance of business during construction was also a major concern. How do we support these businesses during construction so that they're still able to remain open, still able to remain profitable, and still have their business going? Planning construction also not to interfere with Bike Week or other major events. We also heard that lighting and safety was an issue, whether that's from a feeling of it being too dark, or not being able to, or people tripping on curbs occasionally and things like that. There's also feedback that there wasn't enough diversity in some of the businesses that are there. Public and private properties aren't being maintained as well as they could be. And there was also some comments about some properties being vacant for the majority of the year and only used during certain periods. So the focus areas, again, we looked at the arrival of Main Street, which was from the bridge to Peninsula, kind of the central core, and then the beach portion, which is east of Atlantic. We also looked at South Ocean Ave, and then the connectors up to the Ocean Center. The next series of slides, this kind of gives a map of where we'll be looking. Each one of the black lines is kind of a section cut of a different area we'll be looking at. And they're also color coded. So the red ones will be all the ones for Main Street here. So Main Street existing conditions, it varies greatly. There's a difference in the road right away. It goes from pretty wide to quite narrow. It's also very open in locations, not pedestrian friendly, and a lot of different materiality in these different areas. So existing conditions as you come off the bridge. There's some sporadic parking there, but it does lack a sense of arrival. It just feels like a typical roadway. The wide roads kind of encourage higher speeds. It also doesn't feel very pedestrian friendly. So some of our suggestions were to incorporate some more planting at the entry, narrow the lanes so that people slow down, make it a more pedestrian friendly environment, and create some type of gateway element where you know you have arrived to Main Street. Some of the comments we got, maybe coquina could be mixed into it to form connections with the coquina at the beach. Potentially there could be some type of unique archway element that is Instagram worthy, that gets people, talking about the area. There's also some comments that a traffic study should be done to look at how reducing the width of the roads would affect traffic in the area. And then there was also some comments about maintaining the streets to be wide. Looking at the core area of Main Street, some of the existing conditions that we observed, uneven surfaces. There's a lot of different curb transitions, anything from six to 4 to flush, which, the variation of them can cause trip hazards. The parking is undersized, and then there's a mix of site furnishings as well. So some of the suggested or in the proposed alternatives, we did show brick on the street. We tried to incorporate planting. We incorporated some of those raised planters to provide more of a sense of protection along the street, to buffer people on the sidewalk from the cars, and also create kind of a multi-use zone that could be used for parking, could be used for loading, unloading. It could also have bollards on it that would isolate those areas where tables could be used. The major concerns, again, the parking, whether that's removal of the on-street parking or if it goes to lots or structured. There was a lot of different views on how that should be approached. The brick on the roads, again, wasn't, a lot of people were not in favor of that. Again, scheduling construction to not disrupt Bike Week, maintenance of business during construction, potentially purchasing properties so that year-round businesses could be located on Main Street that would bring people in throughout the year. More family-friendly businesses and more diversity in the businesses. Improved maintenance requirements, both on the city and on the private side. And then lighting the area was also important. We looked at how the new designs might work during Bike Week or other events. The ability to still park bikes in that flexible zone. We show it on the left-hand side, but on the right-hand side, the bollards would be moved to the back lines to allow that to happen there as well. We just kept it open so you'd be able to see that. The flexibility for events was generally well received. Closure of the streets and allowing those types of activities to happen, and making sure that the parking was functional for bikes. New lighting, banners, string lights. Some people were very much in favor of the string lights, and some people were opposed to them as well. So, and the creation of Main Street as a destination seemed to be a popular idea as well, to get people to come there year-round instead of just for certain events. And then what should the sense of identity be for the place? Should it be from a historic perspective, or should it look to the future and be something new? Moving further down Main Street toward the beach, existing conditions, there's a lot of trees. There is some on-street parking, about 10 spaces. There's a narrow pedestrian zone, but it feels more transient, just driving through. Our suggestion was to continue that character and the feeling that was in the core area, to bring it down here so there's consistency all along the street. Not a mixture of different site furnishings and different lighting and different materials. The concern about parking, again, was mentioned, particularly with parking that may be lost north of Main Street. The pedestrian enhancements were generally liked. The removal of the parking, though, was a concern. Moving on toward, or to the east, South Ocean Ave and the arrival at the beach. So these existing conditions kind of show, again, some of the different materiality and things like that. So at the Breakers Oceanfront Park, the arrival right now, there isn't really a destination or arrival in that area. It's kind of a intersection that doesn't really work. People have pause there. They don't know if they should go straight or turn. And some of the materials are kind of out of date as well. So our suggested approach was to create a destination there, potentially create a bookend at the beach that matches the same type of entry monument you would have as you come off the bridge on the other side of Main Street. Enhanced drop-off area, so people could Uber there. You could drop off your beach wagon or your supplies or your family while you go park your car, so people don't have to walk as far. Creating a bypass lane, so you could either go south, north, or make a loop and go back out. The public parking, again, was a concern. The general idea of the bookends, I think, was well received, as well as there being a drop-off area. And pedestrian enhancements that contributed to safety were also well received. So moving south on South Ocean Ave, currently it's pretty barren. It's a very wide road at 26 feet, so it's not a very pedestrian-friendly environment. Cars tend to drive fast there because the road is wide. And as a pedestrian, there's really no relief from the sun, and you're also right against the higher speed traffic that you see. So we're suggesting narrowing the roadway, taking that space and contributing it to the pedestrian realm. So we had two different options here. One put it on the west side and one placed it on the east side. The west side actually works better from a standpoint of, you'll see when we move further down, there's some really challenging conditions along South Ocean Ave. Looking at the intersection of at Harvey, there's really no crosswalks. It's not a very welcoming environment for pedestrians moving toward the beach or trying to get down to Main Street. So our suggestions here were to make it a signalized crossing location. Add the crosswalks, have it on demand where when people arrive, they can push the button, it lights up to stop traffic, but also narrowing those roads down and then incorporating the planting along the west side and some of those other site furnishings like lighting and things like that that help to start to make that pedestrian realm feel safer from the speeds, and the reduction of the road as well helps in that feeling as well. Further south is where it gets very challenging with some of the existing parking that is accessed directly off the road. So our suggested approach here was to maintain the wider walk again on the west side of the road, versus there's an alternative at the bottom that moves it to the east side as well. So you're sharing those pedestrian areas, you're splitting that. We recommend giving all that space to one side where you don't have the conflicts with the vehicles coming in and out of the parking. And it also creates just a better quality pedestrian realm, we think, on the west side there. In general, the pedestrian upgrades were well received. It is a very sunny and harsh kind of experience currently. Moving on to the connections to the Peabody and the Ocean Center. Existing conditions on North Wild Olive Ave, it's not very welcoming, and we see that as kind of an issue with getting people to come from the Peabody or from the Ocean Center down to Main Street. It's very hot, it's open, and there's no sense of consistency between them to draw you down to that area. So suggestions would be, again, improving the pedestrian realm, taking some space, potentially incorporating planting for shading, letting people make connections with the planting, with the site furnishings, with the materials that start to form those connections down to Main Street. Some of the concerns that we heard from the public, they did like improving the pedestrian realm and trying to make those connections. Shade was also recommended. Someone even had suggested incorporating some type of awnings or canopy structure to allow people to have a better way to Main Street without having to be out in the elements. And then some of the maintenance along the parking was also a concern. Could that be improved with landscaping and things like that? North Noble, so that's the alleyway connection. We looked at that as, potentially a very, potentially it could be a direct connection from the Ocean Center all the way to Main Street. But it is currently just feels like an alley, but it could be improved to be more of a pedestrian experience where it still allows for trucks to go through there during certain hours of the day. Other times it's closed off and it's more of a pedestrian area. We could help make it feel safer and more inviting with planting, having it well lit, incorporation of potentially murals on walls and things like that. And then the last one we looked at was Grandview Ave, and how we might be able to form better connections there. There's really no relief, again, from the sun in those areas, the limited site furnishings, and direct views to the parking. So one proposed design actually makes it a one-way street. So we take the remainder of the roadway, we contribute that to the pedestrian realm, try to enhance that area, encourage people to come there, but also encourage businesses to move into those areas and put things on the sidewalk that invite people. When people see that type of site furnishings and people activating a space, they're more likely to come down from the Ocean Center, from the Peabody, and then potentially even keep progressing toward Main Street. So Some people didn't like the one-way road. Again, the brick was also a concern. And potentially some of the lighting as well. The second option maintained it as a two-way road, but also reduced the width and gave some of that more, improved the pedestrian realm with planting and lighting and things. That's kind of a summary of what we've done to date and kind of the comments that we heard from the meetings or from the meeting. If there are any questions, we can.
I have a question. What would be the timeline for this? When estimated time to begin, estimated project, and completion date? Do you have any idea what that would be?
At this point, we don't.
At this point?
Yeah, but we haven't because we haven't got into the design yet. We've essentially been working on aerials so far, so we haven't even we don't have a survey and we don't have all the information.
Okay, how long do you
really
think it estimate that it would take once you start?
I would defer to my colleague Bruce to.
Yeah, I think it ends up being close to almost a year-long process that you'll have the survey and any geotechnical work up front, and then that takes a period of time, but then you get into the design phases, 30, 60, 90, 100, attributing about a month or a month and a half to each of those.
We have two big events on that street every year. What are you going to do during that period of time? If it's going to take a year to do the project, what's your plan for those 10 days of Bike Week and 4 days of Biketoberfest?
So that was a design schedule or timeline I was just discussing. On the construction implementation, a lot of it depends on what is chosen to do. If the street remains an asphalt and is not bricked, that allows you to address just the sidewalks. And typically on projects similar to this, we'll bite it off the project by blocks so that there's good cross access, north-south in this case, and then people can park on those side streets and come into the businesses and restaurants there. But taking it a step further, since if it would be just sidewalk, you could hit the south side sidewalk first, then the north side sidewalk. So from a contractor standpoint, you're keeping him mobilized, you're keeping him busy, and you're just working that out. Key to it is the maintenance of business, and particularly any scheduling would be worked around the two key events every year. So, and you can see this. I've seen, sorry to go on, but I've seen similar projects where they avoided school years in the downtown with school traffic and whatnot. So they might hit it just during the summer, for example, or spread it out over a year and a half in that case.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any more questions?
Yes, I'm just curious, why did the residents have a problem with the bricks?
The primary concern we heard regarding the bricks, I think, was related to the motorcycles, not liking the feel of that when they were driving.
Okay.
I think there was a sense, and some commented that they had experienced it elsewhere, that you've got that.
I get it. And the benches as well, that would probably be another problem with the motorcycles as well that you had in the plans.
As far as
Permanent benches?
So yeah, the intention is the parking would happen between the planters there, between the planter areas.
So basically, where the landscape is around that tree, that becomes a bench on the building side, for example. So the motorcycles would still be parking right up to the edge of a landscape planter.
Okay. Okay.
5x5 area.
Have you guys been here during one of our bike events and seen it firsthand?
I have not personally, no.
Yeah, I was going to say, I apologize, I just missed this last one. That's out of town.
You might want to watch a video of it.
Yep.
Number one. So I'm sitting here doing the math. So it looks like it's 6 months between one event to another. We have an event in October, an event in February, March, say March, right? So we have 6 months from March to September, let's say, then finishing touches. Is that possible in 6 months? To do certain things and then we do it over 2 years? Is it more of a delayed, like phase 1, phase 2 type thing?
It probably is breaking it down into blocks as a phased approach, yeah. It wouldn't be biting off the...
Sorry, I want to interrupt for a minute. I think that, the impact of the businesses has a couple different layers that we have to decide. One is how robust the project is. The more robust it is, more disruptive it is. But, the project would be sequenced similar to how we did Beach Street. We work our way down one side, kind of a block at a time, and then we do a U-turn and work our way back. Beach Street was unique in that fact that one is very large, so we had a little bit more room to work. And then good and bad, good for us at the moment, it was during COVID. So lots of the business traffic was obviously significantly slower. But we would contractually obligate our contractors to meet benchmarks for known events, Bike Week, Biketoberfest, New Year's. And we'd work with the Merchant Association that identify prior to bidding what the priority events are. Then they would be contractually obligated to have the street in a usable condition prior to any of those events. And, the more events we block off, the longer the construction duration takes. There's a cost driven with that, the longer the contractor is mobilized. But, we routinely are working around businesses that are active in homes and other, active occupied spaces. And I think Main Street lends itself to being able to do that. A lot of the businesses are not open during the day. So in front of those businesses, we can really crank in front of them doing sidewalk work without interrupting them during the day. And then you safe it back up to where they can operate in the evening. And businesses that are open during the day, in front of the barbershop, you don't work during the day, you work during the evening and after hours, that type of stuff. So I think contractually, and we'll lay out a really detailed plan on how that gets approached. The important thing that we, really need feedback from you guys, doesn't have to be tonight, is kind of what you like and you see in the presentation. I think everybody has it. If not, Tish I'm confident we'll send that out to you guys. And the kind of the big looks are in the roadway, brick no brick. Leaving them in the intersection because they're there. It'd be very disruptive to take that out. Curb, no curb. The staff has really pushed for the no curb model, similar to what's on Auditorium. It really lends itself to activating the street when it's closed. You can have a free flow of folks that are not trying to traverse a curb in the dark. And later in the evening, it becomes less and less possible for folks to make that unexpected step. And then how we manage parking. Do we want to have full-time vehicle parking like we do now? Do we want to have more of a flex space that can be used for outdoor use by the adjacent businesses that then would be swapped back to parking during a bike event or a festival that requires some outdoor space? We really want it to be flexible so that the activities that are programmed on Main Street, tables get picked up and you either park motorcycles, you set tents up, or you set outdoor vending, whatever it is for that particular activity, so that the street is not pigeonholed into one type of activity. As we move forward and getting ready, I know we're trying to schedule a CRA priority, another discussion with the CRA. But we really like to move this team forward and move into the next phase of their work authorization, which is tightening up, what we want to see so they can get some renderings and really get into cost estimating so we can have that conversation with you guys and move this and then ultimately issue them a work authorization, another one that will come back to you guys for design contract. So then we can crank through, do the survey, do the engineering, get a product that works. But we've got to decide what that product's going to look like, and really it's kind of priorities. What do we want Main Street to look like from on a day-to-day basis, and then how that transforms in and out of event periods so that it can be successful both ways. And welcome to throw anything out you want to tonight. Write it down, shoot it to me, shoot it to Mr. Fiecher, or we can have a bigger discussion during your priorities session. Upcoming whenever that gets scheduled. But our goal from our side, from the staff side, is to move these guys forward so that we have a product that we can move into design so that we move forward and get ready for construction.
My question, okay, go ahead, Commissioner Paris.
I'm curious about, so the proposed designs that you provided us, what would the cost be? Because I do like the designs, but I want to know if we're going to be able to pay for it. And the other thing is, what metrics do you use? So if we do all of the proposed designs that you provided to us, is there like a guaranteed number of foot traffic that we're going to get onto Main Street from the Ocean Center to the beach to keep everything connectivity?
I think the latter ends up being a separate economic study and planning study that would take place. As far as the cost, as David mentioned, the next step is that we're waiting to move forward to is coming up with a little more detailed plan. So we would take the typical cross sections and apply them to an aerial. As Tim had mentioned, that's where we are right now. We don't have surveying, but based upon that, we can start to come up with an estimate of the probable construction cost. And we could take that a step further and develop it as an a la carte type methodology where you're applying, okay, if we're just repaving the street and we're not putting brick down, we set that aside. Now it's just sidewalks. Here's what the sidewalks cost. Here's what new curbing cost and what the landscape, the irrigation, the lighting, those elements. So, once we get into that plan view, again, we have all those elements as units that we apply a quantity and a price to, and then very quickly can break it down to block by block or desired program. So, but that's the next step coming forward.
Just the two key factors I would want to keep is motorcycle parking on Main Street.
We have heard
and also that it is comfortable for riding with a motorcycle on the street.
Yep.
So my questions and concerns are, great presentation. And my concern is, because you haven't been to a bike week, have you all had meetings with the merchants?
Well, yeah, we received feedback during the public meeting, and that's where we are kind of in the process of design at this point.
Okay.
So that could be a separate stakeholder meeting that we could do, but thus far it's just been with the public.
Okay, I would like, and I don't know, I would like for you all to meet with them personally, kind of get together at one of their places and talk with them, because they're the ones that will be the most impacted by anything that we decide to do. And I just don't think right now is the time for us to impede upon their businesses where their businesses are not able to fully operate during these phases and these projects. And I want you to sit with them, talk with them, reassure them, get some of their ideas and feedback. The thing about this particular proposal, and while I like all of these downtowns and Main Street that you presented and showed us, Sanford, and I think you showed us Winter Park, beautiful Winter Park. We're a little unique and different in that the motorcycles are going to play a big role in how we design everything. So if you could make sure that you have a meeting with them, if they would like to. I don't know if they would like to, but if they would like to, that's where we should start. I personally believe that's where we should start. We should get the best interest of the people that are there on a day-to-day basis who possibly could be, however they're affected, whether it's negatively or positively. Let's get their input as well. That's what I'd like to see.
We're here to design for the users.
I would have an interest in whether or not the merchants or Mr. Wall or whatever the input is wants to have a one-way or two-way street, because that does make a difference, whether it's going to the beach, away from the beach, etc. So I'm curious as to what their take is on that, or yours. It affects cost also.
Yeah. Go ahead, David.
I can talk to a little bit. I mean, I think the large share, and there will be lots of conversation with business owners. The majority of those who showed up at the public meeting were stakeholders on Main Street. They were specifically contacted on that behalf by Ken's staff. And more input, the better, obviously. I think Main Street, two-way is the only way we've looked at it. I mean, if somebody has a strong opinion another way, we're happy to look that way. But there's not a real good circuit to create to create a one-way system. And then generally, one-way streets tend to be negatively impact businesses because you pass the store and you go, oh, that looks like a good place, but now you got to go all the way around the block to get back, and people tend not to do it. Most areas that are one-way are going back to two ways. Orlando's going back to two ways downtown after a couple decades of that experiment. And the direction was very clear to these folks during the design process that we want to accommodate the events that happen, Bike Week, Biketoberfest, and New Year's, and all the other activities. And we're really looking hard on how we blend what already happens on Main Street, the successes that are there, and how we bring other successes to Main Street so they can operate beyond those peak periods. So there's a steady activity there. That's the target of their effort. And they were selected for this effort because of experience they have on some of those streets that they presented and some others. We asked them to narrow down what they presented to you to streets that were more similar to what we have on Main Street, meaning it's constricted to 50 feet, because they've done some really great urban streets that are 3 or 4 times that wide, and we just don't have that luxury. We think that and staff really wanted to look at that connectivity. How do we bring people from the beach, and how do we bring people over from the events at the Ocean Center? And we felt that the bookends, we've been calling them bookends, is a big part of that arrival at each end to pull you down into Main Street and have some connection to what is some successes we're seeing on Beach Street, that all become part of a kind of a connectivity that is not Beach Street and Main Street, that there's that connection across the bridge as we do phase 2 of Beach Street this next year.
That include branding, because we've been talking about branding a lot. What does that look like in this design?
I think from a branding perspective, you've got those arrival moments that we would work very closely with you all and our PIO staff who does the branding to have those arrival moments. And then the lighting that goes and the poles that are installed give good opportunities for city branding as well as event branding with signage and banners, and something to bring some change and some excitement to the corridor, depending on what's going on and what the season is.
Mr.
Great.
Waller? Oh.
Just a minute. Commissioner Reed has been waiting.
Well, first of all, let me say thank you for bringing something to the table, because it's been a long time. I'm sure the business owners and the residents in that area are excited about change, because they deserve this. We've neglected this area for quite some time. I'm glad you say no on the one way. I wasn't really particularly caring about that, but I did want, I do like the sidewalks being widened so that we can have more pedestrian walking, and we can have sidewalk cafes and opportunities like that. I am concerned about parking. Now, parking comes up a number of times in this area. Some people say we got enough. Some people say we don't have enough. So I don't know which one it is, but we definitely would need parking. The bikes or no bikes, got to have bikes. Curbs or no curbs, we can get rid of the curbs if people are tripping, and it just extends the sidewalks for people to walk. But I look forward to the discussion. I look forward to hearing what they have to say this evening, those 4 that are going to speak, because right now we're going off of just what we've seen in your presentation. And I do concur with what Commissioner Henry said in regards to having maybe just a conversation with just the business owners, and we could probably provide one of our facilities, because they probably don't have somewhere that could contain everyone that would have an interest in this that is a business owner, and have a discussion with them to see what they want as well. And then we'll put all that together and make a decision. But it's long deserved. I am a native, and I won't tell you how long I've been living in this city, but I don't think much has been done in that area, and it's just about time.
It is.
We do have to make a decision, though. I did hear you say, do we want a historical view or a future view? And that's something that the business owners need to also be prepared to discuss as well. What do we want Main Street to look like for it to have this new look and new feel? Thank you for what you've done for us tonight.
That's a big part of kind of what we're looking for input from you guys as we move forward through this process is, we know what Main Street does now and what it does well, and we want it to do more well. And so kind of how do we set it up for that success? The parking conversation, a lot of our design look is really at removing the on-street parking. I know that is sometimes unfavorable. There's 26 parking spaces, I think, is the head count. So parking at 26 spaces isn't, we don't see on our side necessarily making or breaking the businesses on Beach Street. On Main Street, because we need way more than 26 vehicles worth of people on Main Street for it to be successful. So if removing those creates an opportunity for businesses to expand and have outdoor useful space and improve the pedestrian walkways, it may have a positive trade-off. But the business who's directly in front of it, they may miss that spot. So those are some important decisions we need to decide and that's the now and the future. What do we see long term for Main Street?
What I did like,
Just
hold
a
on,
minute,
Commissioner
wait.
May. What I did like you say though, is when we do have those major events like Bike Week and Biketoberfest, that when they're gone, the street can be converted into something else so that they have continued use. So the spaces where the bikes perhaps are parked during that time can then be spaces where they can have outside vending or whatever the case may be. So we want to make it as usable as possible so they can get the full benefit of whatever change we bring about.
Yeah, that's the concepts we've shown that remove the parking. Those spaces become widened sidewalk areas that have the ability for site furnitures and used by pedestrians or dining or whatever the adjacent business wants to do with it. But then Bear and Bike Week, all that stuff rolls up. You pick up the bollards and it becomes a very similar format to what we have now. And we've proposed some isolated raised planters that have the trees and plants and all that acts as a seating space that could be used during events or in between events. And that protects that space so that, in a real busy event, it doesn't take the damage that they do now. And then it creates that hardened spot that protects those pedestrian use areas when the road is open by having those kind of bookends. They'd be really by the intersection. Spots that you're not parking in now would be where those raised planters go.
I like it.
Thank you.
David.
Commissioner Cantu?
Yeah, Mr. Waller, while you're up there, I've been here over 50 years.
Got your
Hate
beat.
to say it. So at one time, there was a signage over that bridge, which is the county. The county is in charge of that bridge, and I know they're in the process of looking at that bridge, doing something to that. So is there any way that we could talk to the county about putting the signage back up that they had going over the bridge at one time?
I think anything we do on Main Street will have to be coordinated with the county. The county actually is the road owner of Main Street. So anything we do there will be a use permit through the county.
And
So
do you remember the sign?
yes, I do.
Okay.
And we've I think some pictures of it floated through the design process, the diamonds. So yeah, if that's something that the commission would like to see
I would like
added
yeah,
back,
I'm
then it
sure the
certainly can
business
be. I
owners-
know some of Ken's staff was very passionate about the over the road signage. And it is, not everything makes a slide, right?
Right.
So yeah, I think anything we want to do on the corridor to create those iconic spots and those points of arrival we think are important, and we just permit them through the county. And the county, we believe, will be supportive of what we do. They've been supportive of how we use Main Street now. They don't want to be involved in Main Streets. They're happy that we do it.
Right. But I think they're in the process of looking at that bridge and doing something, because I think it's about time.
We hear those conversations. I don't know how serious they are looking at it. It is I think the last drawbridge in Volusia County that they maintain. They would love to not maintain a drawbridge, but I don't know the time frame in which anything might happen.
And I actually agree with Commissioner Henry, too. I would like you guys to sit down with all the business owners. I think, like I said, we probably have 20, 25 of them here right now.
Yeah, when we did the original meeting, we expected to see business owners.
But maybe just with them.
And we got a little overwhelmed. I mean, honestly, we play a little over-under game, and I lost bad on how many people would show up to the event, which is very exciting. But you lose the ability to touch all of them well and really listen to their concerns. So we'd certainly enjoy the opportunity to have another meeting that's specifically invited by either property owners or business owners.
And you may have to have two, David, because of
Right.
people's time frames of work, some working in the day, some working at night.
Yep. No, I remember what time we did it before. We tried to kind of wedge in between that, we meet at 5 or some kind of an odd time for us, trying to catch folks that may be working and getting off, and then before a lot of those businesses open and operate. But we certainly can do something during the day or the evening.
I would like to just see them just with the business owners at first.
Yeah, we'll let the Main
Right.
Street Association pick a time, and we can
Correct.
certainly host that at the Peabody again. We think that's a good location.
Okay, great. Commissioner May?
No, go ahead.
So I just want to point out, just for purpose of memory, I guess. On MLK, when we did the renovation there, we took out some of the parking spaces. And some of the merchants on that street had a hard time because they had older clients, right, who couldn't quite make it. So just as a, let's keep in mind, parking-wise, some businesses need upfront parking, handicap parking, older parking, et cetera. It does make a difference, number one. Number two, Mr. Waller, just so you know, of late I've been paying attention to parking lots and how beautiful some of them can look. So I'm just wondering, as part of your renovation project here, are we going to take a look at some of the parking lots also and kind of bringing them up a little bit? Some you can have the same kind of design elements going, but if you're going to uplift the streets and the sidewalks and make that look fantastic, it would be nice to have the rest of it, the back areas as well, looking nice.
Yeah, agreed. I think we own, I believe, maybe three parking lots in the Main Street area. We own the group behind the Peabody. We own one on, I think it's Wild Olive, and then we have another one, I believe it's on Grandview, that are generally public parking, and there's a couple others floating around that are leased to Joe's that we're the ownership of, but they're not open to the public. They're open to part of our lease agreement with Joe's. But certainly, any of those public spaces, to me, they ought to be, that's your moment, that's your first impression. When you come in, you park, you get out of your car, and you're already making a decision on how the rest of your evening is going to go. Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Strickland?
Question, Mr. Waller. Some 30 years ago, they made Seabreeze one way out of town. Is that a county road?
Seabreeze is a state road. Seabreeze, Oak Ridge, those pairs are owned by the state.
I feel like that we should not allow Main Street to ever go one way, because I remember when Seabreeze was two-way and it was very lively and had a lot of business and activity over there. As soon as they made it one way out of town, it kind of put the brakes on a lot of stuff. So I would, please, let's make sure that we keep that street two-way on Main Street.
We agree. And if I was king, Seabreeze would go back to two-way, but I'm not. If I was king, Seabreeze would be two-way.
Any more comments? We will. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the awnings. I think that they will add great walkability for that area and shade. So thank you. All right.
Okay. And just for the record, John, it was for the 4 businesses to speak, so I have my list of 4 businesses. Our first speaker is Dino Paz Velasquez, and on deck is Helen Humphreys.
We live there, we pay taxes into the CRA, we have no say. What you're saying.
We are letting the 4 businesses speak beforehand. They will not be speaking on the agenda item at the end of the meeting.
And normally you don't speak on the CRA. We voted that they could speak tonight. You don't normally have comments from the
So those
citizens.
4 that are speaking will not be speaking at the end of the commission meeting.
We don't.
Dino?
Dino Pasplagas.
Just a moment.
Hold up, commissioners. You're going to let some people speak, and you have to have a basis for deciding who does and doesn't get to speak in a way that's consistent with the First Amendment. And you've had a member of the audience raise an issue that speaks to a potential inconsistency. So what I would recommend that you do before you hear anybody speak is to decide on a total time limit for speakers on this part of the meeting, regardless of the number of speakers, and then let speakers speak on a first-come, first-served basis. Otherwise, I think you risk a First Amendment violation. And so if you're not wanting to do that, you're not obligated to allow anybody to speak. But if you're going to allow some people to speak, my suggestion is you move to a total time limit for this meeting, and then allow any number of speakers to speak up to that time limit.
Okay.
Whether they're businesses or residences.
Then I will change my motion to amend my motion, to allow 15 minutes, because if we let 4, 15 minutes to speak on this item.
The total time for
15.
public speaking.
Correct.
And is it
After
part of
15.
And is it part of your motion that each speaker would be entitled to speak for 3
3
minutes?
minutes, correct.
Okay, and then if you're going to adopt that motion, I think you need to give people some time to come up and sign up before you allow them to speak.
We already have them.
To speak with John, if that would include John.
Okay. Okay.
Second, whoever second makes a second now.
Who made the motion?
I made the motion. Oh,
Can you amend your second? So we have a motion, amended motion and an amended second.
Okay, we have an amended motion by Commissioner Cantu and amended second by Commissioner May. All those in favor?
no, May.
Harris? May? May. By Commissioner May. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. We're going to hear from our first speaker.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Dino Pasplakis, 565 Riverside Drive, representing Boardwalk Property Owners Association. First, I'd like to say happy birthday to Commissioner Cantu. And since I'm limited, I'll go on from there. Happy birthday. First of all, obviously, when I started seeing the presentation and I saw some of the alternatives and what have you, obviously parking is an issue for that area, and the alternatives that left the parking areas should be the ones that are valued, and obviously the merchants that are directly affected, the property owners, need to be consulted as to their position. As far as the Main Street, Ocean Avenue area where you have the drop-off location, I do think that that is a good idea for our area, as long as no eminent domain is used to accommodate the drop-off circle that's going to be created there, which the plans do not show that. And as long as the North Ocean Avenues continue to be open, which I didn't see any presentation on North Ocean Avenue as far as that's concerned. Second, I'm going to use this opportunity real quick to address something that you guys need to also address, which is one of the problems that's happening on Main Street right now. There's an economic incentive to tear down existing buildings and use them for special event periods. We've seen that where Hot Leathers happen. We've seen that where Dirty Harry's is. They've taken existing buildings that pay taxes and what have you to the area. They tear them down and then they put tents during. And we've seen on the southeast corner of A1A and Main Street, where there was a building there, was torn down. During special events, you see tents go up, and I think that's a shame. I mean, we if anything, I know there's an exception for Main Street, for the Main Street area, where it allows for itinerant vending and what have you, but we should not allow it if you have to tear down a building, like grandfather in what existing vacant buildings there are, and not allow any future. Because you're giving an incentive for people to tear down buildings. And one last thing I want to say, Cruising Cafe, please don't spend $4 million on it. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Helen Humphreys, and on deck is Tom Guest.
Helen Humphreys, 3 Tropical Lane, Daytona Beach, Florida. Happy birthday. I've been here a long time. You all look so incredibly young to me. I'm 92. I have been through a number of renovations that we have had. I just want to say we need to look to the past to see what worked and what didn't. When I first started on Main Street, there were many places. Kay's Restaurant, I don't think any of you remember. 50 years it had been there. It was wonderful. I can't think of all the drugstores, florist. I mean, it was a booming street. That's why my husband and I set up originally there. I am not affected by some of these changes. Luckily, I own property behind me, so I can drive to work. My customers can read there. When we dug up the street to do the first renovation of Main Street, every business I just named went bankrupt. All because when they started the event, they dug up the entire length of Main Street, totally blocked it off. It took almost 1 year before that street was paved. Part was the county, part was the city. They couldn't seem to decide. Now jump to one street behind me. We have the new International Speedway. Dr. Duva came in, bought properties, fixed them up, put a magnificent restaurant called Beaches, and even Disney designed the bathrooms. They were so impressive that everybody went into the men's room and the women's room, way ahead of the time. So they went bankrupt because in the lengthy time and the change of the patterns of traffic, they went out of business. That is tragic. They also own several other pieces of property, which they're going to develop, but I feel terrible about that. As far as what we do on Main Street, please leave it two ways. Please do not dig it up. Leave it paved, but make it beautiful. Have wider sidewalks, maybe crush coquina and whatever cement. Make it attractive. Make sure that all the planters that are there have beautiful flowers and that you keep them up. It's a lot cheaper. Do not put benches. Look at New Smyrna Beach. They redid part of it down there. They put benches everywhere. The tragedy is the life we are living right now. There are lots of homeless people. Where do they sleep? Where do they put their satchels of whatever they're carrying around them all day? It was a disaster in New Smyrna. They had to pull them out because the benches are like right in front of my place, and they would spread out all their stuff, and then they'd get chased away and all their stuff would still be there. So make it beautiful. Do not put palm trees that look like they're upside down. Yeah. Boy, there's a bunch more.
Yep.
Please come visit. Where are you? Please
Thank
come.
you, ma'am. Our next speaker
Your
is...
husband came. Your husband.
Our next speaker is Tom Guess.
Helen, that's not my husband.
Yeah.
That's my brother. Thank you.
Madam Deputy Mayor, members of the commission, city staff, my name's Tom Guest, and I've been on Main Street for a long time. I'm one of the younger people here. I'm only 80. So, but I've had businesses on Main Street since 1985, and I've seen a lot of changes, and I've seen the debacle that Mrs. Henry, that Helen was just talking about, the last time that it was torn up, and I had a business at the time at 618 Main Street. Okay, 4 stores next to me there on the street. When the renovations were finished, I was the only one left there. Everybody else had gone. What we're trying to do is bring businesses to the street, not drive them away. And if you start tearing this thing up again and making it last a long time, you're going to drive more businesses away. That's just, now, there's a couple of things you mentioned. Lighting on the street, we definitely need more lighting. You know, there were times when I had a big backlit awning around my business at 618 Main Street that you could see from A1A. It would draw people up the street. So we definitely need more lighting on the street. People will come part way up and turn around and go back because they don't see. So the time to do this is very, very important. And when it was done before, there was 94 parking spaces taken off the street. There was parking along both sides of the street, which brought people to come and park in front of the business they wanted to go to. That's not happening anymore. Yeah, there's some parking spaces and parking lots, the businesses that have been torn down, there's some parking spaces there. But for any of the events, I don't want to pay $20 to park in one of them, and that's they're charging $20 and up to park in these parking spaces, which is ridiculous when you can have all these parking spaces on the street. We need, Wild Olive was mentioned as an entrance from the Ocean Center to Main Street. which is a very good plan, very good idea. Those other places, Noble and Grandview, not so much, but Wild Olive is, if it can be, resurrected to bring it. But, let's get the parking back on both sides of the street to bring the people to the street. And that would also allow for the parking spaces for motorcycles for Bike Week and Biketoberfest. It would also allow places to put tents along both sides of the street for vendors for different events that we want to do on Main Street. I guess I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is it Sarah? What is your last name? I'm sorry.
Sarah Gudati.
Gudati. And on deck is John Nicholson.
You have to bear with me because I'm a little bit nervous. My name is Sarah Gudati. We own Main Street Tattoo. So we own 405 and 407 Main Street. I am also the vice president of the Main Street Merchants Association. I've been doing it for about 9 months now. And I have also lived on Main Street for 6 years. We live above our business with our twin daughters that are 7 years old. So when we first moved in, they were a year and a half. And I was scared to death. We moved from a residential area in Ormond, and I thought to myself, and I looked at my husband, what are we doing? But it has become one of the most fabulous upbringings that I could ever have imagined. And my street has encouraged me. Helen Humphrey, I am an avid walker. I walk all the bridges by myself daily. So I do all the bridges, Main Street, International. I go to Orange Bridge. But I will say with having twins, I've had them on all ages. So I've had them at 1.5 to 7. And we have comfortably walked down Main Street ever since. I've had strollers, I've had beach toys, I've had all of that. I've never had an issue feeling like it was uncomfortable safety-wise, but also just user ability. I use it just fine there's plenty of room. Raising my children, I will say that the curbs, I feel like those could probably, I do see people trip on those, so I feel like that could be something that would be a great addition. But I also, with the event planning, there's plenty of room on the sidewalks when I'm planning out the street. I can use, like Miss Helen Humphrey, I put, a popcorn vendor next to her, which is a 10 by 10 tent. So that's big enough. That's her sidewalk. And I put a cookie lady next to her. Our parallel parking spots are also vendor friendly. I can put a 10 by 10 tent there, no problem. So I do agree that the lighting is something that needs to be addressed. Lighting is always a big safety. It's warm, it's inviting. I'd love to see string lighting and all that. When I first joined Main Street, I felt like most of the businesses were kind of closed off. In this last year, we worked really hard as a team to produce great events like Light Up Main Street, where we had snow coming from the rooftops. We had Miss Helen Humphrey said there was more families on Main Street than ever. And what I want to say is that we can be diverse. I think the bars were a little freaked out when I was like, let's add some bounce houses, let's add this. But they have learned to trust me that we can be both. We can be Bike Week and we can be walking to Zeno's and getting ice cream with our kids and, doing the beach and all of that. We do need support. I will say sometimes I feel like we're doing the best with what we have, but if we had support, we could definitely make this happen. I also feel like we have more unity than we've ever had. We are very open-minded. We all communicate regularly, which is something that didn't happen when I first started in there. So we are open to meet with you, but please meet with us. And my children go get their haircut at Ken's barber shop. And to say that businesses are not open, so Froggy's open early. Us open at noon. The barbershop open. Boot Hill open. We're all open.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, thank you.
Our final speaker is John Nicholson.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue, a resident of the area, as long as Tom had a business on Main Street. I walked Main Street when I had legs every morning for 30 years, so I know the street very well. I remember when they closed for over a year, it caused, almost half the businesses to close. We cannot go through that again. Ask Orange Avenue. When that happened, they were having problems. So I was nice enough to get or the staff was nice enough to give me copies. And I went through that, walked Main Street 4 or 5 times with that copy, looking for problems. There were maybe 30 or 40 problems, 10 of which are major problems. One of which is the idea that they're going to 2-lane Main Street. When you come off that bridge, there's Halifax and Peninsula. They both have turn lanes. Their concept is to take away the turn lanes. So during a major events, if anybody wants to turn, then everybody has to back up all the way over to Beach Street or to Ridgewood. We don't want that. We need the turn lanes. They have to be there. Secondly, the county has bus parking in front of the Peabody. Their recommendation is to take the bus parking out and put grass. The county relies on that for bus parking. Peabody relies on that space for bus parking. You cannot take it out. So there are a lot of things like that that they were not aware of that they should have been aware of. There are things that I saw, minor things, like there's a telephone pole that's not even used anymore, all right, next to the Peabody, going down the alley. So they have it in the post and the post designs. Why not just take it out? If it serves no useful purpose anymore, there's no house there. If it's not usable, take it out. So we need to look at it holistically. They say what it's going to look like in 20 years. Well, 20 years, it's going to change drastically. Ocean Avenue is going to have 5 new hotels on Ocean Avenue, and yet they don't want a walkway in front of the hotels. That makes no sense. They want the walkway across the street. If you were in a hotel and you wanted to walk down to Main Street, you would have to walk across the street, walk down, and then walk back across the street to get to the boardwalk. It makes no sense. A sidewalk should be on both sides of Ocean Avenue. There are so many of these things. The merchants never saw a lot of this stuff coming. They looked at it, it looked nice, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, there's so many problems. They absolutely need another public comment area. Thanks.
Thank you, John.
Any further comments?
Any more comments? Okay. Oh, commissioner comments, starting with, let's see. Are there any commissioner comments?
I do have some.
Okay.
So since the parking keeps coming up, I would like to know collectively, we could ask staff to maybe look into pervious parking, because right now everything's blacktop. So our land development code requires that. If it's something that they could look into, and the parking lots that we currently have that are being done on non-conforming lots, if it's something that we could have permanently, and maybe have them also look into standards for parking lots for beachside, since we have this issue of parking coming up. I know we always talk about it, but we never really speak and say, yes, this is something we want staff to look into and bring back to us to see if there's any thing that we could do to help with parking.
I'm not opposed to that. Any more traction?
No, I think it's a part of the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, but Amy Powell said they didn't need any more parking the last time she came before us.
I'm sorry, part of what plan? Because I spoke to the city manager. I don't think it's in the works. So that's why I'm bringing it up.
Parking has to be inclusive in this, but yes, what you're saying, I'm in agreement.
I think it's separate. Is it separate or is it together?
She's asking in reference to our standards. What do we want our standards to be? Staff has looked at particular standards, and we go back and forth periodically during Bike Week and Biketoberfest. So she's asking a specific question for us to determine what do we want our LDCs to come back, because we do have some non-conforming parking lots that don't meet our current standards, and we need to know if you all want us to bring back a certain standard and we vote on it, or continue to operate as we've been operating.
And this would be for year-round also.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and with regard to parking, I mean, could we elevate our own standards? So we have city-owned parking lots that are not very pleasant as a destination if I'm parking my car there, I might be a little bit nervous. Simple things. I've sent emails about foliage or just some very simple things that could elevate what the parking lot looks like, but have it citywide as part of our code, right?
That was my next thing,
Okay.
to identify all city parking lots and how we could create signage, either have maps on our website to say where can you park in Daytona Beach, that's city-owned lots. And also on Grandview, there are two sides of the street. A lot of it's not being used because I think it's supposed to be permit parking, but I see that there are constantly spots there. So is that something we want to look at? Maybe we could provide more parking on Grandview.
So again, dealing with the CRA, we're doing comments on CRA. Okay, so we'll just take turns.
Okay. I did put a little slide together if you want to time me 3 minutes, because I know we have a long night. And I was just thinking of maybe some options that we could bring to the boardwalk and also to the surrounding green areas. Xavier, I sent you that PowerPoint. I'm serious, honey. Okay, I'm just going to read off from this, but Daytona Beach Boardwalk Reset from Unstructured to Coastline Culture. This is a strategic initiative to restore safety, family presence, and a positive use of space. You could go to the next one. The reason why we're here, we had recent incidents impacting public safety and visitor confidence and negative perception. And also we have unstructured space, and I think by identifying this space, it's a space issue and how we use it. So I would like for us to set the narrative on what we want to see to be more inviting to families. You can go to the next slide. Okay, so the vision for a clean, safe, active, and welcoming space. Boardwalk and surrounding area people choose to stay in. So my strategy would be, instead of being reactive, to be designed. So we control the narrative from unstructured to programmed. We have Breakers Learning Park that is right off of Main Street and Ocean Avenue, and there is staff there. So I was thinking maybe we could have some sort of life-size games that we can have them check out. We have a volleyball court there. Maybe have a volleyball that someone could check out, or golf. Is it disc golf? I think that's another activity that could be done. And also, when people come, I don't want them to feel that they're at risk. I want it to be comfort. So since staff is there, it's a point of reference for people, and we have some entertainment options for residents and visitors. So I was thinking that it could be the boardwalk backyard. It's a defined family zone with games, seating, lighting, and programming. So going back to the Breakers Oceanfront Park, we could have some life-size Connect 4, cornhole. We do have our volleyball court there, so have volleyballs available, maybe a life-size chess set, and also string lighting to make it more inviting in that corridor, which also ties into the Main Street streetscape. So, I mean, what does it look like? So the next slide. I just want it to be more family-friendly and more inviting for people to come. And, you know, I would like to see family playing games there, parents sitting, so a calm, structured activity. The next slide. So basically it'd be clean, safe, active, and welcoming environment. While we were standing here, I was also thinking we have the Main Street Arch, which is also a historical site. Maybe put a placard there, put a selfie circle that people could actually, you know, take pictures there and promote our history as well. There's also opportunities to do murals or some sort of structures or like we were doing in at the Daisy Stocking Park, the walk, the sculptures that we have there already. Can you go to the next one? So I guess what I'm asking for is we could do a pilot program. Uh-oh. That's what it feels like at 3 minutes. I'm sorry. Give me another 30 seconds. I'll try to wrap it up. Yeah, that's a tough job, guys. Okay. So if we could do a 60-day program, I know that we have, is it called Fun on the Run, manager? Yeah. The Parks and Rec Fun on the Run, or something that we could do from Wednesday to Saturday from 10 to 6. So define location, which we know is Breakers Park and the surrounding boardwalk areas, wherever we have green space, because I know we have some vacant space, and also with the ordinance that we just passed, how we can maybe activate it to bring more people and families to the area. So just simple programming, cornhole, Connect 4, life-size chess, etc. And cost and funding, I was trying to be as conservative as possible. If we could take it from CRA funding, and it also would be eligible because it's economic activation. And then, I'm all about the metrics. So the next slide. So if the pilot program shows that we can introduce foot traffic, reduce incidents, family participation, and then also get the business's feedback that's there too, that would be helpful to see if it works or not. So it's something small that we can implement and see if we could bring more families, because that's what we've been talking about, to provide a family environment. So just to divide, I guess, designing an environment that produces better behavior. So the last one, my request to approve the pilot, and if we could direct staff to come back with a plan for us at the next meeting or so. And that's it. I know I'm over my time. So any feedback from anybody? Do they like the idea? Is it simple enough to implement to make some big changes?
Do we think it's going to cost $45,000 to $50,000, considering that we own Fun on the Run?
I don't know. I could not view costs just based on that, but we'll look at it. Our Fun on the Run programs are normally in our local parks, and they're once a month, not Wednesday through Saturday.
To be every day with staff.
Yeah. So, but we'll bring back, if you all desire for us to bring back numbers, we'll bring back the numbers.
Let's do that at a workshop. Bring back.
Then my second question, do we have a date for the workshop? Because I know we're like 3 months out from the workshop too.
Are we 3 months out? No.
Well, we were supposed to have it in February. Actually, the
we had one, but
beginning of February, right? So now we're already at the beginning of April.
Comments?
Are you all want us to bring anything back or wait till
Yeah,
the
bring
workshop?
something back. I don't know if we necessarily need a workshop. She's already put a presentation together.
We have a CRA workshop.
Oh, at the CRA
Bring it
workshop.
at the workshop.
Okay,
Yes,
that workshop.
the CRA
Okay.
workshop.
I didn't know
with
if she
that
meant one
said,
just for this.
we will send dates for the workshop because I think we only have maybe one survey that's remaining.
Okay.
It's not me.
Everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
So can staff have the information for the workshop? So if we need to make a decision, we can. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ken? No?
Okay.
Okay. I have a couple of comments. So the pavers, whenever we pull them up, what do we do with them in the CRA areas? What happens to the pavers? They go anywhere? Anyone take them? Like, what happens?
Like the actual brick from like A1A?
The actual brick.
The brick on A1A was disposed of by the contractor.
So
for-
I actually had a couple of residents approach me and said that they would actually be interested in purchasing a brick as a fundraiser to have a piece of Daytona Beach that they would own. So I'm not sure how that works, but I'm happy to put you in contact with people who actually want to buy a brick.
Well, the A1A ones are gone because they
But in the
belong
future-
to the state. Once we do complete our work, they own it and they made that change. And then they actually then came back and asked us for some spares to put things back together.
Okay. But in the future, if that opportunity arises, I think there are some residents who would want to purchase them as a thought. It's number one. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Then also, I've been going through little drive-bys at night into some areas. And North Beach Street, I was having a conversation with the city manager today about it. North Beach Street from Fairview, Ballou area, North Beach Street to Oak Ridge, I believe it is. At night, there's some interesting traffic that goes on in those areas. So I drove up one side, I turned around, went down the other side, double checked. I alerted the police, and I'm so grateful that our police chief is taking an interest in that area. And if we have more police presence, which I think they're going to do, which I'm really grateful for, hopefully it'll slow down whatever activities are being reported by the various businesses down there. The Veterans Museum, it's in Zone 3. They had a fantastic event. Thank you, Commissioner 2, for bringing that along. We missed you, but we sent you pictures. That's good. Can we market for them at all in our newsletter? Can we do any kind of marketing? And do we do marketing for them? Okay. Could I get copies of that to give to them? Because they really need the foot traffic. They're a bit removed. And so they don't have very many, if any, marketing dollars. And what they need are people who'll come through, but people who are connected to groups will then invite the groups to come into the facility so they can then apply for grants to do improvements and create more experiences there. So if you have friends, family groups, school associations, sororities, fraternities, children's groups, boys and girls clubs, etc., if you have any contacts, please let me know. I would love to help them market their facility, along with Commissioner Cantu.
And the CVB as well, if they could, that would be great.
So anything we can offer them, even on our website. Then this past week, first of all, let me just focus on Main Street. Since we're doing things with Main Street, have we given further consideration to Main Street USA? And I'm wondering if the merchants there, we had a conversation, a public meeting about Main Street USA and funding for it. Can we consider that at the CRA workshops, that if they're doing a renovation on one hand, maybe some of the branding can be done with Main Street USA, so it's one project, a community project around the streets, and then the streets itself. So that would require funding. I believe it's a 3-year funding process. Just putting that out there. And I thought that we were going to get some information from Redevelopment about Main Street USA. If they could bring that to the workshop, that would be wonderful. We could maybe make a decision there too. Finally, could we please put up and this is part of the CRA that's been happening. So downtown, could we watch this for a second? It's 2 minutes. This was the event at Manatee Island a few weeks ago. It was their Island Festival.
Warms my heart to see people of all ages, all abilities, culturally aware on the island and especially downtown. So please enjoy our shops, enjoy the facilities, and thank you for coming to Zone 3.
Those were the active dogs who knew which direction to run in. So the event started at 10 o'clock in the morning and went until past 9 o'clock at night. But that is the type of activation that I would like to see on a regular basis on Manatee Island. And so this is why, if people question why I fund events on the island, is because the more events that we can have like that downtown on the island, that we can keep track of the numbers, the more downtown will grow. So as they're on the island, they're also looking at the new apartments coming. So new people got to experience the potential of the growth downtown. That is kind of what I'm hoping happens more of. So thank you so much for approving that funding a few weeks back. And I'll be doing more of that on Manatee Island. Thank you so much.
Love it. I love that. That was really nice. Any other comments? Okay. So my only comment is that I'm very happy for Main Street. I'm happy to be getting this kicked off and getting it going, and hopefully looking to see all of these wonderful plans come into fruition. Happy for the merchants, happy for the residents. So, motion to adjourn. Okay, we're going to adjourn and we're going to come back in about 5 minutes. Make it 7. This was long.
Okay.